double trouble. All the engines were very excited. They chuffed cheerfully and chattered as they clattered along the tracks. Today was the Fat Controller's birthday, and there was to be the grandest birthday party on Sodor. Thomas had a very special. He was to pick up the Fat Controller and Lady Hatt for the party. As Thomas approached Maithwaite Station, he gasped. Ahead, he could see the Fat Controller already on the platform.
Cinders and ashes, I must be late.
Thomas pulled into the station. He was worried.
I'm sorry, sir. I thought I was early.
The Fat Controller turned around. Thomas gasped. The Fat Controller had a moustache. Thomas was so surprised he nearly popped a piston.
Thomas, my good friend, you're looking perfectly polished today.
Thank you, sir.
The Fat Controller chuckled so loudly his top hat wobbled. Thomas was puzzled. The Fat Controller never chuckled so loudly that his top hat wobbled, and the Fat Controller never called Thomas his good friend.
I know, Thomas. Let's go to the Whispering Woods. It's one of my favourite spots. We have plenty of time before the party. All aboard!
Now Thomas was even more puzzled. He wanted to ask about the Fat Controller's new moustache and why he was acting so strangely. But Thomas didn't want to look silly, so he decided not to ask. Thomas pulled away from Maithwaite Station and chuffed towards the Whispering Woods. Thomas puffed up to the Whispering Woods. Edward was there. Edward had brought children to visit the woods. Then he was to take them to the party.
Hello, Edward.
Hello, Thomas. You look worried.
Thomas was worried, but before he could explain, the Fat Controller climbed down.
Marvellous! What fun!
Please, sir. We can't stay long. The children mustn't be late for the party.
Oh, party smarty, Thomas. We have plenty of time. You worry too much.
And the Fat Controller strode off.
Hello, children. Who'd like a game of hide and seek?
Did the Fat Controller say a game of hide and seek?
Yes, he did.
And Thomas's wheels wobbled with worry. The Fat Controller played hide and seek for a long time. He was very happy. So were the children. Edward was puzzled.
The Fat Controller never plays hide and seek.
I know.
And what's that on his face?
A moustache. It just appeared. Today, the Fat Controller doesn't seem like the Fat Controller at all.
Just then, the Fat Controller came back. Thomas wanted to ask him if he was feeling all right, but he didn't want to look silly. Thomas knew that silly engines weren't really useful engines, so he didn't ask any questions.
We must hurry now, sir. We'll be late.
And so will the children.
But the Fat Controller wasn't worried.
Don't hurry the children, Edward. Let them play.
Edward was so surprised his boiler bubbled. Then the Fat Controller jumped aboard Annie and waved to all the children. Thomas's wheels clickety-clacked. He puffed and he huffed along the track. He knew they were late for the party. Thomas stopped at the junction. Suddenly, the Fat Controller jumped out of Annie and climbed up to the signal box.
I won't be a moment, Thomas.
Thomas was amazed. So was the signalman. The Fat Controller never came into his signal box.
Hello there. May I have a turn?
Thomas looked up. He saw the Fat Controller pull a lever. Then Thomas heard Gordon's whistle.
Cinders and ashes. Here comes Gordon.
Gordon had all the important visitors aboard the express. He was taking them to the party. With a clang and a clatter, the points changed. Gordon and the express were no longer on the express track. They were now on a branch line heading away from the party. Thomas heard the Fat Controller whoop for joy.
Hurrah!
Fizzling fireboxes. I must ask the Fat Controller why he's being so strange.
But when the Fat Controller came down from the signal box, Thomas didn't say anything. He still didn't want to look silly.
What fun! All aboard, Thomas!
Thomas raced towards Maithwaite. Lady Hatt would be waiting. They were very late. Thomas was worried.
First, the Fat Controller had a moustache. Next, he wanted to play hide-and-seek with the children. Then he sent Gordon off the express line and away from the party. The Fat Controller is acting very strangely indeed.
Thomas puffed into Maithwaite. The station master was cross.
Thomas, you are late. The Fat Controller and Lady Hatt had to go to the party in Bertie the bus. But Bertie hasn't arrived at the party. Neither have the children or the very important visitors.
Thomas was puzzled.
If the Fat Controller is on Bertie, then who is on board Annie?
Just then, Thomas's passenger stepped down. Thomas knew he had to ask the question he hadn't asked before, even if he looked silly.
Excuse me, Fat Controller. You don't quite seem yourself today. Is everything all right?
Thomas's passenger beamed brightly.
Yes, Thomas, but I'm not the Fat Controller. I'm Stallone Hatt. I'm his brother.
Thomas was amazed. That explained everything. But he wished now he had asked his question earlier. Now there was no time to waste if he wanted to be a really useful engine.
Bertie must have broken down. We must find him right away.
The Fat Controller's brother was very excited.
Hurrah! Another game of hide-and-seek.
Now Thomas was stern.
No, Salome Hat. I have to work hard and quickly. Otherwise your brother's party will be spoiled.
Salome boarded Annie and Thomas puffed away. Thomas found Bertie the bus. Smoke billowed from his engine. Bertie looked very unhappy. So did the Fat Controller and Lady Hatt.
Thomas, where have you been?
Just then, the Fat Controller's brother stepped down from Annie. The Fat Controller sighed.
Oh no, Loam. Have you been up to your old tricks again? Absolutely right, Topham. I've been having a wonderful time with Thomas.
The Fat Controller didn't think this was funny at all.
Loam, you have caused confusion and delay. We must hurry.
Thomas delivered the Fat Controller, his brother and Lady Hatt to the party, just in time. The party looked grand, but Thomas couldn't stay. He had work to do. First, Thomas chuffed to the Whispering Woods. Edward was very happy to see Thomas.
Go straight to the party with the children, Edward. The Fat Controller is waiting. It was his brother, Salome, who was playing hide-and-seek.
Next, Thomas found Gordon. Gordon was huffing and puffing as slowly as a snail down a rickety branch line.
Oh, the indignity.
Hurry, Gordon, to the next express line. Race like a rocket to the party.
That made Gordon very happy. At last, Thomas chuffed back to the party. Edward and Gordon were already there.
What a wonderful party!
And it was. Everyone was laughing. Then Thomas and his friends heard something very extraordinary. The Fat Controller chuckled even louder than his brother, and that made Thomas happiest of all. Splish, splash, splosh. It had been raining and pouring on the Island of Sodor. The engines were splattered and sploshed with mud. Thomas liked the rain. It splish-splashed on his boiler and pitter-pattered on his paintwork. Thomas and Rosie had biffed and bashed all day at the shunting yards. Now it was time to go.
Come on, Rosie. I'll race you to Tidmouth Sheds.
The two friends puffed along the tracks, straight through a very big puddle.
Whee!
Thomas and Rosie were splashed from footplate to fender in muddy rainwater.
That was fun.
Then an idea flew into Thomas's funnel. Thomas reversed slowly. Then he pumped his pistons.
Here I come, Rosie. Splish, splash, splosh.
That's a good game. Here I come, Thomas. Splish, splash,
Muddy water splattered everywhere. Then the Fat Controller arrived. He had some important news.
Alicia Botti is to sing at a concert in the town hall. The concert will be followed by a grand tea.
That's exciting!
What fun!
Thomas, you must go straight to the washdown. Then you are to collect Miss Botti and myself from Dryall Station. We will be waiting for you.
Yes, sir.
Rosie, you must collect Annie and Clarabelle and take them to Dryall for Thomas.
Yes, sir. Right away, sir.
See you later, Rosie.
And Thomas and Rosie chuffed quickly away. Thomas pulled up at the junction to the washdown. He saw a very big puddle on the other track. Charlie was waiting right by it. He was very muddy.
Splashing Rosie was such good fun. I'm sure Charlie would like my game too. And I'm sure I have time for another puddle before the washdown.
So Thomas didn't take the track to the washdown. He took the track through the middle of the very big puddle.
Here I come, Charlie! Splish, splash, splosh!
Bust my buffers! That's a good game!
Thomas huffed happily on.
Hooray! This is fun!
Now Thomas wanted to find more puddles. He couldn't wait to play his game with the other engines. At the next junction, Thomas waited to chuff left to the washdown. Then he saw a very big puddle on the right track. Emily was waiting.
Emily's muddy already. I'm sure she'd like my game. And I'm sure I have time for another puddle before the washdown. Here I come, Emily! Splish, splash, splash!
Muddy rainwater had splooshed all over Emily and all over Emily's flower trucks.
Fizzling fireboxes. I have to take this flour to the bakery to make the cakes for Alicia Botti's tea. Now Thomas has ruined it.
Thomas didn't know he had splashed Emily's flower trucks.
This is fun! Splish, splash, splosh! I'll soon need a wash!
And Thomas chuffed on, chuckling. At the next junction, Thomas waited to chuff to the washdown. Then he saw a very big puddle right beside James.
James is muddy already. I'm sure he'd like my game. And I'm sure I have time for just one more puddle before the washdown. Here I come, James! Splish, splash, splash!
And Thomas steamed away laughing. Muddy rainwater had splooshed all over James and all over the ripe strawberries on his flatbed.
Blistering boilers! These strawberries were for Alicia Botti's cakes. Now they're ruined.
Thomas didn't know he had splashed James's strawberries.
This is fun! Splish, splash, splosh! I'll soon need a wash!
And Thomas puffed on, happily. Thomas chuffed up to the next junction. Now it was getting late.
I know there'll be a very big puddle along the track by the river. I'm sure I have time for one last puddle before the washdown.
So Thomas took the left track that went along the river. Ahead of him, there was a very big puddle.
My! This is the biggest puddle ever! Here I come! Splish, splash, splash!
Then there was trouble. Muddy water flew high into the air and splooshed down all over Alicia Botti and the Fat Controller.
Thomas!
Thomas screeched to a stop and reversed slowly. He saw that he had splish, splash, splashed Alicia Botti and the Fat Controller.
Cinders and ashes!
Look what you've done to Miss Botti. She's soaked. Also, Thomas, I hear from the dairy manager that you ruined the flour and strawberries for Miss Botti's grand tea. This is a disaster.
Thomas felt terrible. He tried to puff forward, but he couldn't.
Oh, no.
The big puddle had put out his firebox.
This game isn't fun anymore. It's all gone wrong.
Then Thomas heard Rosie's whistle.
Rosie, please help me. I've Splish, Splash, Splosh into trouble.
Oh dear, Thomas. Of course I will. Don't worry.
Rosie heaved and huffed Thomas onto dry tracks.
With my dry coal, Thomas, your boiler will soon be bubbling.
Thank you, Rosie. Now I can't go to collect the Fat Controller and Alicia Botti. Would you take my special for me?
Of course I will. I'll go right away.
Later, Thomas was once more steaming happily. He pulled up at a junction. There was a very big puddle on the right track.
Look at that big puddle. It's perfect for Splish, Splash, Sploshing. No, I'm not going to Splish, Splash, Splosh anymore. I must make sure that Alicia Botti's grand tea is on time.
And Thomas puffed along the left track to the bakery and away from the big puddle. Thomas arrived just as James and Emily had delivered fresh strawberries and flour to the bakery.
Your silly game means we'll be late for the concert.
No, you won't. I'll wait here for the cakes, then I'll deliver them. You can go to the washdown, then you'll both be clean for the concert.
Thank you, Thomas.
Now I'll be shiny and best, and gleam more than the rest.
Thomas puffed in with the fresh strawberry cakes for the grand tea.
You're just in time, Thomas.
Thank you, sir. I'm sorry I caused confusion and delay.
Rosie puffed up to Thomas.
I found another puddle. It's perfect for our game. We can play again.
No, thank you, Rosie. I think I've done enough Splish, Splash, Sploshing for one day.
A blooming mess. It was a special day on the Island of Sodor. Knapford Station was going to be decorated. All the engines were very busy and very excited. The Fat Controller was at Tidmouth Sheds.
Knapford Station is being decorated. There are lots of jobs to do. Thomas, you must go to the quarry and collect slate for the new roof.
Yes, sir.
Emily, you must go to Maithwaite Station and collect the flowers for the new window boxes.
Flowers? How lovely. I know all about flowers. I know that buttercups are yellow.
Emily. And then take them to Knapford Station.
Yes, sir.
Emily huffed happily to Maithwaite Station. She passed Toby. Toby was delivering wood for Knapford's new floors.
Hello, Toby.
Hello, Emily.
Then Emily passed James. James was delivering pots of paint to paint Knapford's new walls.
Hello, James.
Good morning, Emily.
Emily puffed up to a junction. Mavis was on the bridge above.
Hello, Mavis.
But Mavis didn't say hello to Emily. Emily was surprised.
Mavis? Mavis! Hello?
Mavis still didn't say hello to Emily. Emily wondered what was wrong with Mavis.
I know what's wrong. Mavis must be feeling sad today.
At Maithwaite Station, Emily buffered up to the flatbed of flowers.
There are a lot of different flowers here, Emily.
Emily knew the names of all the flowers, but she didn't say a word. She was thinking about Mavis. She wanted to make Mavis happy. Then an idea flew into her funnel.
I'm sure flowers would make Mavis happy. I have lots of them. I can leave some of them at the quarry for Mavis.
So Emily didn't puff straight to Knapford Station with the flowers. She took the track to the quarry instead. Emily huffed happily into the quarry. She couldn't see Mavis anywhere.
I know. I'll decorate the quarry with flowers. That will make Mavis very happy when she comes back.
Emily looked for a place to put some flowers.
This is the perfect place. Mavis will see the flowers here as soon as she arrives.
Emily felt very pleased with herself.
Now, I must find somewhere else to put some more flowers.
Emily looked around. She didn't see Edward puff into the quarry behind her, but she did hear the loud crash.
Fizzling fireboxes. What was that?
Edward had crashed straight into the flatbed of flowers and rolled towards the hopper.
Edward, look out! Those flowers are going to make Mavis happy.
Pardon?
Edward was confused.
I'm sure flowers by the hopper would make Mavis happy. The hopper's so grey and dusty.
Emily felt even more pleased with herself.
Now, I must find somewhere else to put some more flowers.
Emily looked around. She didn't see Thomas reverse towards the hopper behind her, but she did hear the loud crash.
Bubbling boilers! What was that?
Cinders and ashes.
Bust my buffers!
Watch out for the flowers! They're going to make Mavis happy!
At that moment, Mavis pulled into the quarry.
Whatever has happened?
Emily looked at Mavis. Mavis wasn't happy. She was very upset.
What has happened to my quarry? And what are those flowers doing here?
Emily gasped.
The flowers haven't made Mavis happy. The quarry is in a terrible mess. And it's all my fault.
Emily chuffed up to Mavis.
You didn't say hello today, so I thought you were sad. I brought the flowers because I wanted to make you happy.
Mavis sighed.
I wasn't sad. I didn't say hello because I was thinking about all the jobs I had to do today.
Emily felt very silly.
I wish I had asked if you were sad. Then I wouldn't have brought the flowers and the quarry wouldn't be in a terrible mess.
Mavis looked at the mess. She looked very sad. Emily wanted to think of a way to make Mavis happy, and now she knew she had to ask.
Mavis, what would make you happy? I would like the quarry to be tidy and all the engines to be really useful.
Emily felt very pleased she had asked Mavis. Now she knew exactly what to do to make Mavis happy.
I can't move. I'm covered in sleigh dust and my firebox has gone out.
Don't worry, Thomas. I'll shunt you over to the coal hopper. You'll soon be burning brightly again.
Thank you, Emily.
So Emily worked hard. She puffed and she huffed, and she heaved Thomas to the coal hopper. Then she biffed and she bashed the flower beds away from the hopper so that Edward could shunt his truck to be filled.
The quarry is tidy again, and all the engines are being really useful. Is there anything else that would make you happy?
Yes. I want you to deliver the flowers to Knapford Station, where they should be.
Right away, Mavis.
At last, Emily arrived at Knapford Station.
Here are the flowers for the new flower boxes.
Thank you, Emily.
Emily watched as the flowers were unloaded. They looked very pretty.
Did you know, Thomas, that those yellow flowers are called buttercups? And those red ones, Edward, are called roses. And those white ones are daisies.
Mavis puffed up. She was smiling.
My! You're smiling, Mavis. Are you happy?
I am. Those flowers look wonderful.
And that made Emily happy too. Percy's Parcel. It was a beautiful day on the Island of Sodor. The sun was shining in a bright blue sky, and all the engines were very excited. There was to be a special party. It was Dowager Hatt's birthday. The Fat Controller arrived at Tidmouth Sheds. He had a special for Thomas.
Thomas, you are to collect passengers for the party from Brendam Docks.
Thomas was excited.
Yes, sir.
Percy hoped that the Fat Controller had a special for him. But he didn't.
Don't worry, Percy. I'm sure you'll have a special later.
But Percy still felt sad. Mavis rolled by and stopped. She could see Percy was unhappy.
What's wrong, Percy?
I don't have a special. Everybody else does.
Don't worry, Percy. I'm sure the Fat Controller will come back with a special just for you. And when he does, be sure to tell me all about it.
Just then, the Fat Controller did come back. Percy was surprised.
Percy, you have the most important special of all. You must collect my mother's special birthday parcel from Brendam Docks. Then you must deliver it to the birthday party at Knapford Station.
Percy beamed from buffer to buffer.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Percy was excited. Mavis had been right. Percy puffed into Brendam Docks. He gasped. The parcel was the most special parcel he had ever seen. Percy was so proud his firebox fizzed.
I must show Mavis straight away. She'll be very proud of me.
Thomas was at Brendam. He was pleased for his friend.
Percy, you have the most important special of all.
I know. I'm going to show Mavis my special straight away.
But don't you have to go to Knapford Station?
Percy didn't want to listen to Thomas.
I have plenty of time to puff to Knapford. First, I will show Mavis my special.
So Percy set off for the quarry as quickly as he could puff. Percy steamed into the quarry. He looked for Mavis. Mavis was busy. Rocky was loading heavy crates onto trucks, and Mavis was shunting them. It was hard work.
Hello, Mavis.
Hello, Percy.
Look at my special.
I'm sorry, Percy. I can't stop now. I'm too busy.
Don't worry, Mavis. I'll wait.
Look out, Percy!
But it was too late.
Whoa!
Rocky dropped his heavy load of slate. Everyone was lost in a thick black cloud of slate dust. At last the dust cleared. Mavis, Rocky and Percy were covered in thick grey dust. And so was Percy's special. Percy was upset.
Bubbling boilers. Look at the birthday parcel. What am I going to do?
Percy thought as hard as he could. At last an idea flew into his funnel.
I'll go to the washdown. My special will be cleaned there as good as new.
Percy, shouldn't you go straight to the party at Knapford?
Percy didn't want to listen to Rocky.
I'll go to Knapford Station as soon as I've shown Mavis my special. I still have plenty of time.
So Percy steamed quickly away. Percy huffed and puffed to the washdown. James was already there having a polish.
My, Percy, whatever happened to you?
Percy felt very silly.
I'd like a very good wash, please.
The workman got straight to work. Water and soapy bubbles sprayed everywhere. Soon Percy was gleaming green again, but his special looked terrible.
Bubbling boilers! The birthday parcel is wetter than wet. What am I going to do?
Percy thought as quickly as he could. At last, another idea flew into his funnel.
I'll take my special to the Sodor Steamworks. Victor will help me. His hot air blowers will dry the birthday parcel.
Percy, shouldn't you go straight to the party at Knapford?
Percy didn't want to listen to James.
I'll go to Knapford Station as soon as I've shown Mavis my special. I'm sure I still have plenty of time.
And Percy chuffed quickly away. Percy raced like the wind to the steamworks. Percy looked for Victor at the steamworks. He couldn't find him anywhere. But he did find a workman.
I'd like to be dried as quickly as you can, please.
The workman was happy to help. Hot air whooshed and whirred all over Percy and all over his special. Soon the workman had finished. Percy felt very pleased until he saw the birthday parcel.
Wobbling wheels! It's all crinkled and crumpled. What am I going to do?
Percy thought as hard as he could, but this time no ideas flew into his funnel at all. So Percy steamed sadly away. Percy clickety-clacked slowly along the track. Now he didn't want to show Mavis his special. He had spoiled Dowager Hatt's birthday parcel. He couldn't go to the party at Knapford now. Percy didn't want anyone to see him, so he chuffed into a siding to hide. He felt terrible. Then he heard Mavis and Edward chuff to the junction.
Hello, Mavis. You look happy.
I am. I've just picked up these brand new crates.
Suddenly, Percy stopped feeling sad and he started to listen very carefully.
Brand new crates?
Victor had just delivered them to the steamworks. I've never pulled brand new crates before. Goodbye, Edward.
A brand new crate is just what I need.
Percy pumped his pistons and puffed away to the steamworks.
Hello, Victor.
Hello, my friend. How can I help you?
I've just seen Mavis with brand new crates. May I have one, please?
Well, what for?
To put my birthday parcel in.
Well, of course you can, Percy.
That made Percy very happy.
Thank you, Victor.
Soon, a new bright red crate was sitting on Percy's flatbed.
This will be the grandest parcel the Fat Controller's mother has ever been given. I must hurry now. Everyone will be waiting. Thank you, Victor.
And Percy puffed proudly out of the steamworks. The Fat Controller and Dowager Hatt were waiting at Knapford Station. The Fat Controller was cross. Then Percy puffed in. The brand new bright red birthday parcel looked wonderful. Everyone cheered.
Happy birthday, Mom. Here's your very special birthday present.
Dowager Hatt beamed, and even the Fat Controller smiled. As the workman opened the crate, everyone wanted to see what the present was. Dowager Hatt was most excited of all. Then everyone gasped. It was a beautiful portrait of Dowager Hatt.
Oh, my Bertram! What a wonderful surprise! I'm very happy.
That's the most special I've ever seen, Percy.
Percy smiled from footplate to fender. He was sure he was the happiest engine of all. Creaky Cranky. It was the spring holiday on Sodor. There was to be a party for the children at the Duke and Duchess's new summer house. All the engines were very excited and very busy. Thomas chuffed cheerfully into the docks. James and Henry were passing through.
Good morning, James. Good morning, Henry. Where are you puffing to?
I'm taking these straw bales to the summer house for the children to climb on.
I'm taking wood to make a stage for the children's show and barrels of lemonade to drink.
How wonderful. I'll see you later at the summer house. Good morning, Cranky.
What's good about it?
It's the Duke and Duchess's party day.
Party, smarty. I don't go to parties. I'm stuck here loading and unloading all day. I haven't had a moment to rest my hook.
That load is for me. It's eggs for the children to paint. Hurry up, Cranky. You're Creaky Cranky. What's the matter? Are the eggs too heavy a load for you?
Cranky didn't like Thomas's joke. He didn't like being called Creaky.
No, they're not too heavy for me. They're light as fluff. You're not strong enough to pull anything heavier than fluff, Tiny Thomas. That's why Henry and James have the heavy loads.
Now, Thomas didn't like Cranky's joke.
Fizzling fireboxes. I'm as strong as any other engine.
You're not as strong as me. I can lift much heavier loads than you could ever pull.
Thomas really didn't like that.
We'll see, Cranky. I have lots of time to deliver the eggs. First, I have to prove Cranky wrong. James has a heavy load. I'll go and find James.
So Thomas steamed sternly out of the docks. Thomas found James at the junction by the washdown.
Hello, James. I don't have a lot of jobs today. Shall I deliver your heavy load of wood and barrels for you? You can stay here at the washdown. Then you'll be perfectly polished for the party.
James thought this was a very good idea.
Thank you, Thomas.
So James was uncoupled from the heavy flatbed of wood, and Thomas was coupled up. The flatbed was heavy. Huffing and puffing, Thomas set off for the docks. Thomas chuffed back into the docks.
You again? What are you doing with that wood?
This flatbed is very heavy. I'm sure you can't lift it.
Cranky looked at the flatbed of wood and barrels.
I'm sure I can.
Cranky's hook swung low over the wood. Thomas watched and waited. With a creak and a crank and a crank and a creak, Cranky raised the flatbed into the air. Thomas's boiler buzzed.
Told you so.
You're still Creaky Cranky.
And you're still Tiny Thomas.
That made Thomas very cross.
I will prove Cranky wrong and still have time to deliver the eggs. I'm sure Henry had an even heavier load. I'll go and find Henry.
So Thomas steamed stormily away. Thomas found Henry waiting by the coal hopper for his special coal.
Hello, Henry. I don't have a lot of jobs today. Shall I deliver your heavy load of straw bales for you? Then you can wait here for your special coal.
Henry thought this was a very good idea.
Thank you, Thomas.
So Henry was uncoupled from the heavy flatbed of straw bales, and Thomas was coupled up. The flatbed was very heavy. Huffing and puffing, Thomas set off once more for the docks. Soon, Thomas puffed back into the docks.
You again? Now what are you doing with those straw bales?
This flatbed is very, very heavy. I'm sure you can't lift this.
Cranky looked at the flatbed of straw bales.
I'm sure I can.
Cranky's hook swung low over the straw. Thomas watched and waited. With a creak and a crank and a crank and a creak, Cranky raised a flatbed of straw into the air. Thomas's funnel fizzed.
Told you so.
You're still Creaky Cranky.
And you're still Tiny Thomas.
That made Thomas even crosser. More than ever, Thomas wanted to prove Creaky Cranky wrong. He had to find the heaviest thing he could. Then an idea flew into his funnel.
Lift me, Cranky.
Cranky looked at Thomas. He couldn't let Thomas win. Cranky's hook swung low over Thomas. Thomas hardly dared puff. With a creak and a crank and a crank and a creak, and very, very slowly, Cranky raised Thomas high into the air.
Bubbling boilers! Creaky Cranky is lifting me.
Then there was trouble. Cranky creaked louder than ever. His crane arm stuttered and judded. It creaked and it croaked. Then it cracked.
Oh, no!
Cranky's crane arm had broken, and it was all Thomas's fault. Thomas was stuck high in the sky and blowing in the breeze. Then the Fat Controller arrived.
Thomas! What are you doing up there?
I'm sorry, sir.
You are causing confusion and delay. The Duke and Duchess have no wood, straw bales or eggs. Now I see you have them all here. Cranky is broken, and you, Thomas, think it's a good time to try being a bird. The Duke and Duchess are waiting.
Thomas felt very silly. Then the Fat Controller looked at Cranky.
And you're as silly as Thomas.
Cranky crumpled.
The shame to be as silly as a steamy.
Soon a workman had climbed up Cranky. Slowly and carefully, Thomas was lowered and landed with a jolt and a judder. Just as Spencer arrived.
Dear, oh dear, Thomas, what a mess. Little engines can get into very big trouble.
Thomas felt even sillier in front of Spencer, but he knew now that being strong was only good if you were also really useful, and he had to be really useful.
Spencer, I need your help. You are very strong and can pull much heavier loads than me. Will you take the wood, the straw bales and the eggs to the summer house for me, please? It's my fault that Cranky is broken. I must put everything right as quickly as I can.
Very well.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Cranky. I know you're strong, stronger than me. I'll be back soon with the right parts to fix you.
Then Thomas pumped his pistons and puffed out of the docks. Thomas wheeshed like the wind, all the way to the steamworks.
Hello, Victor. Cranky creaked and now he's cracked. He needs new parts.
You've come to the right place, my friend. Parts are plenty here. We'll have Cranky up and lifting in no time.
Soon Thomas's flatbed was loaded with new parts for Cranky.
Thank you, Victor.
Of course, my friend. Give Cranky my best.
And Thomas huffed happily away. Thomas puffed into the docks with his heavy flatbed. Cranky was still looking crumpled.
Here you are, Cranky. We'll have you fixed in no time.
Thank you, Thomas. That's a heavy flatbed. You know, you're not tiny.
And you're not creaky.
Cranky laughed, and that made Thomas laugh too. Tickled Pink. James was the brightest red engine on the Island of Sodor. His bright red paint made him feel very proud, and it made him feel very special. One morning, James was about to puff out of Tidmouth's sheds. The Fat Controller arrived to see him.
James, you are to have a new coat of paint. You must puff straight to the steamworks.
James was pleased.
Thank you, sir. I will be the smartest engine on the whole island.
James whistled with pride. James puffed proudly into the steamworks. The workmen were waiting. First, they took off James's old coat of red paint. Then they applied a special pink paint. The pink paint was to go under the new red coat. It was to keep the water out. Soon, James was covered from fender to firebox in bright pink paint. Just then, the Fat Controller arrived.
My granddaughter is having her birthday party today. Emily was to pick her up at Maithwaite Station, but she has broken down. The other engines are busy. You must collect the children and take them to the party.
But, sir, I'm not ready.
You're quite ready enough, James. Leave right away. The party starts at tea time. You mustn't be late.
The Fat Controller left. James was upset.
Oh, no. Pink is a silly colour. I don't want anyone to see me looking silly.
James puffed up to a junction. Emily was there. She was waiting for the workman.
Cinders and ashes. You're bright pink, James.
Emily laughed and laughed.
Oh, no. Everyone is going to laugh at me because I'm pink.
James didn't want to be laughed at. Then an idea flew into his funnel.
If I see any other engines on the way to the children, I'll hide.
James chuffed through the countryside. Ahead, he could see Toby puffing along the track.
I don't want Toby to see my pink paint. He'll think I'm silly. I'll hide under this tree until he's gone.
So James chuffed under the branches of a willow tree. Toby puffed slowly towards him. James kept as quiet as he could so that Toby wouldn't hear him. Suddenly, James heard a whistle he knew well. It was Gordon.
Clickety-clack, express on the track.
With a wheesh and a whoosh and a whistling wind, Gordon thundered down the express line. The branches of the tree blew up in the air. There was James in his bright pink paint. Toby stopped. He was surprised.
Fizzling fireboxes, James. You're a big pink engine.
James felt very silly. He didn't like being laughed at, so he steamed swiftly away. James puffed on towards Maithwaite.
I mustn't be late for the children.
Then James saw Diesel.
Oh, no! It's Diesel. He's sure to laugh. I have to hide quickly.
James saw some trucks. They were piled high with coal. James puffed into the siding and hid behind the trucks.
Oh, this is a good hiding place.
Then Diesel oiled into the siding.
Fizzling fenders.
Diesel had to shunt the coal trucks. Diesel shunted away the trucks that James was hiding behind. So James puffed to the next trucks. Then Diesel shunted those away as well. Quickly, James rolled behind the last two trucks. Then Diesel shunted them away.
Oh, no!
Diesel was surprised.
What are you doing, James? You're a big pink steamy!
James felt terrible. Being laughed at by Diesel was worst of all. So James chuffed quickly away. James knew he was getting late. He had to pick up the children before tea time.
I'll take a shortcut through this tunnel. That way, I'm sure to chuff to Maithwaite on time.
James puffed out of the tunnel. Then he heard a whistle.
It's Gordon. Oh, no. I don't want Gordon to laugh at my silly pink paint. I have to hide.
So James reversed back into the tunnel and waited. Gordon pulled up to the tunnel. He could see steam.
Who's hiding in there? Express coming through. Come on out.
James didn't want to come out. He was sure Gordon would laugh at him. Then Thomas and Percy puffed up.
What's happening? Who's in there?
I don't know, but the express can't wait.
James knew the engines were waiting for him, and so were the children.
If I keep hiding, I'll be late to pick up the children, and they'll be late for their party.
So with a puff and a huff, James chuffed slowly out of the tunnel. He was very unhappy.
James, you're all pink. What a funny colour.
I'd hide too if I was bright pink.
James felt terrible. All the engines were laughing, but James knew what he had to do.
I feel very silly, but I can't let the children down.
James hurried to Maythwaite as fast as his pistons could pump. James saw Spencer at a junction. Spencer thought James looked very silly.
Oh dear, James. Bright pink really isn't your colour.
James didn't like this, but this time, even though he felt silly, he didn't hide.
I mustn't be late for the children.
Then James saw Henry passing by.
My word, you do look pink.
But James didn't hide. He felt silly, but he didn't stop.
Must collect the children. Must collect the children.
James puffed towards Maythwaite. He could see the children waiting.
I'm sure the children will laugh too. They will think I look very silly.
And he steamed sadly onto the station. James pulled into Maythwaite. The Fat Controller's granddaughter didn't laugh, and she didn't think James looked silly at all. She smiled. She was very excited and very happy.
James, you're a pink engine. Pink is my favourite colour.
James couldn't believe it.
Do you really like pink?
I love pink, and so do all my friends. Look, pink is our favourite colour.
James was so happy it made his boiler bubble.
I'm a very lucky engine.
James puffed proudly into the town hall just in time for the party. The children laughed and clapped their hands. James, the bright pink engine, was the hero of the day. Playtime. All the engines on the Island of Sodor are very happy. They are all pleased to work on the Fat Controller's railway. There is always something new and exciting to look forward to, like the day the famous singer Alicia Botti came to give a concert at the town hall. Thomas met Percy at the washdown. His boiler bubbled with pride.
Hello, Percy. I have a very special. I must meet Alicia Botti at the docks. Then I have to take her straight to the town hall for a grand concert.
That's exciting. I have news too. Someone else is arriving at the docks.
Thomas was puzzled.
Charlie, the new engine.
Thomas hadn't heard about Charlie.
What's so special about Charlie?
He's the favourite engine of the mainland controller. Everyone says he's the most fun engine ever. Even more fun than you, Thomas.
Percy chuffed cheerfully away.
Bumpers and buffers. I don't think any engine is more fun than me.
And Thomas puffed off to the docks, his wheels whirring with worry. Thomas collected Alicia Botti at the docks. Miss Botti looked very grand.
I'm pleased to be travelling with you, Thomas.
Thomas's pistons popped with pride. Then he saw Charlie.
Charlie's smaller than me, and he certainly doesn't look more fun than me.
Hello, are you Thomas?
Yes, I am.
I'm Charlie. I've heard a lot about you.
You have?
The engines on the mainland say you're even more fun than me.
Thomas was surprised. Then the Fat Controller arrived.
Thomas, Charlie has a busy first day. Edward has broken down. Charlie must pick up Edward's trucks of seats from the steamworks. Then he has to collect ice cream from the dairy and red carpet from Knapford Station. If Charlie needs help, I'm sure you will look after him.
Yes, sir.
Yippee! Wanna come with me?
Why?
It'll be fun.
Sorry, I'm busy.
I heard you were a fun engine. Maybe you're not fun at all.
Thomas didn't like being told he was no fun at all.
I'll come with you to the steamworks, and then I'll take Miss Botty to the town hall. I'm sure I have plenty of time.
So Thomas steamed slowly towards the steamworks, and Charlie followed behind. Thomas chuffed carefully to a junction. Miss Botty smiled sweetly from her carriage. Charlie pulled up alongside.
This isn't fun. I'll show you fun. Yippee!
Thomas couldn't let Charlie be more fun than him. He pumped his pistons, bubbled his boiler, and fizzed his firebox. The race was on. Thomas and Charlie roared and raced. Their funnels were fiery. They were soon red-faced. Alicia Botty could not believe her eyes.
My goodness me, this is a surprise. I thought Thomas was steady and slow. What thrills and what fun on the way to my show!
The engines were laughing. The race was such fun.
You're quick and you're speedy, but I'm number 1.
With a whoosh and a wheesh, the 2 engines pulled into the steamworks.
Steady, boys. Who's your friend, Thomas?
Charlie, he's new.
I'm Fun.
And I'm Alicia Botti.
Miss Botty, it is an honor to have you visit our steamworks. Kevin! Sorry, boss.
And while Charlie was coupled up to Edward's flatbed, Miss Botty sang to the steamworks. Then it was time to go.
You are Fun, Thomas. Let's go to the dairy.
Thomas knew he should take Miss Botty straight to the town hall, but he didn't want Charlie to think he wasn't Fun.
I'm sure I still have time to get Miss Botty to the town hall.
So Thomas and Charlie left for the dairy. Soon, the 2 engines came to a junction.
Let's puff down there.
We can't. That's a bumpy track.
But it'll be fun.
Thomas wanted to be Fun, so he followed Charlie down the bumpy track. Thomas and Charlie bounced and bumped. Alicia Botty judded and jumped. And the couplings jiggered and jiggled, looser and looser. At last, Thomas and Charlie pulled up to the dairy.
That was fun!
And this is even more fun. We must go, Miss Botty. You mustn't be late for the concert.
Bye-bye!
If you were a really fun engine, you would race me to Knapford.
Thomas knew he was late, but he wanted to be really Fun.
Just one last race, Charlie.
Thomas and Charlie thundered and roared. Thomas thought he had never puffed so fast.
I'm first.
Let's race again.
Then Gordon whooshed past. He was huffing grandly. He was taking the Fat Controller to the town hall. Thomas gasped.
I'm late. I must whoosh like the wind to the town hall.
Thomas pumped his pistons and he chuffed away quickly in a cloud of steam.
I mustn't be late. I mustn't be late.
Then there was trouble. Thomas didn't know that his couplings had come loose. Thomas raced on to the town hall alone. Thomas steamed to a stop. His cheeks were redder than James's shiny coat.
Here I am, sir.
The Fat Controller looked hard at Thomas.
Here you are, Thomas. But where are Annie and Clarabelle? And where is Miss Botty?
Thomas felt terrible. He had been having fun when he should have been really useful.
I'm sorry, sir. I've lost them.
The Fat Controller boomed.
Then you had better go and find them.
Thomas puffed to a junction. He had looked for Annie and Clarabelle, but he couldn't find them anywhere. Then Charlie chuffed up. He was on his way to the town hall.
Hello, Charlie. I've lost Annie and Clarabelle and Miss Botty. The couplings must have come loose on the bumpy track and snapped when we were racing.
Don't worry, Thomas. I have a good idea.
What's that?
We'll have a race. Whoever finds Annie and Clarabelle first is the #1 fun engine.
Thomas was stern. He didn't think that was a good idea.
No, Charlie, this isn't the time for fun. This is the time for being really useful. I have a very important job to do.
And Thomas huffed away. Thomas chuffed carefully. He was very worried. Then Thomas heard singing. He smiled from buffer to buffer.
That's Miss Botty singing! Hooray!
Thomas found Miss Botty by the bridge. He had never heard anything as beautiful as Miss Botty's singing.
Miss Botty, we must go. I'm sorry I kept you waiting.
And Miss Botty cheerfully waved goodbye as the crowd clapped and cheered. Thomas puffed to the town hall with Annie and Clarabelle. The Fat Controller was cross.
At last, Thomas. You've made Miss Botty very late.
Not at all, Bertram. Thomas has made me very happy. I've had the ride of my life. So many people to sing to, and such fun.
That made Thomas smile. And so did his fun friend, Charlie.